Okay, so I will be going against Corinne Del Castillo. She argued that we should defend Taiwan in the case of a Chinese military invasion, and I respectfully disagree. Um, Mostly because we are already in a lot of wars with other countries such as Israel, uh, and the Ukraine war. There are a lot of special interests that aren't really interests of the United States already. And she mentioned this too, that a lot of the arguments, oh, it's just another war that would be used um, to drain tax dollars out of many Americans. And while many might not see that as a big deal in defending Taiwan from China and being, dangerous with that, it still raises the question that do a lot of Americans believe that Taiwan is that important for those um, have Americans fund it? And I would say no. We know that inflation has risen a lot, and it has to do a lot in part with these wars. And recently, FEMA was saying that they wouldn't have the funds to make it through hurricane season, which is quite unfortunate. And it's not all because the money is being sent to those wars over there, but you have to think when there's billions and billions, maybe almost even trillions of dollars being sent to these countries that we don't really have a stake in, and especially the Israel and Palestine war, where that's a war that's been going on for years and years and years, and a conflict that it almost feels like it could be too good to be true for it to end. Um, Another reason I don't think that we should aid Taiwan is because it's too much of a risk for us to invade Taiwan. Now, I do think it's important that the people are protected and they um, have their right to fight against China, but for us, it only causes another, I think, a world war because you get involved with that, you support China, and I know it. Um, makes our allies lose faith in us if we just let Taiwan go. But that's better because if you get into war with Taiwan, if you support Taiwan, you're basically declaring war on China, and then you're declaring war on Russia, and then all the world's superpowers are fighting each other in support, and that can lead to nuclear war. So it might be, in my opinion, better as maybe even a nuclear deterrence to just let China go or to let Taiwan go for that purpose. So overall, in my opinion, I don't think that we should defend Taiwan as it's too much economic um, economic imbalance for us to put on the backs of many Americans who are already sending their hard-earned tax dollars to wars that they don't really have a stake in, or the majority doesn't. I know there's people that care about protecting those other wars, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter to us or have any special interest to Americans whether or not the Ukraine falls and whether or not Israel or Palestine, whoever you support, wins that war. And then it's just the cause of, in my opinion, preventing a world war and preventing nuclear outbreak because you got to think that China and Russia and the Middle East and North Korea and all those countries are just looking for some sort of excuse to get to war with us. And we might not have the same kind of power in our allies that they do. So, yeah, thank you guys for listening and have a great day.